just relaxed and relieved. Okay, do what you do. So I gave it to them, their turn. Chase me, I act stupid, whatever you had to do with it. They know who I'm talking about. I can't represent as a, hey, you're pretty fine and specimen. I see you in your brain before you even ask me. Thank you. I just gotta represent and act as if I'm just a normal, productive citizen of society. If I ever was.
So God approved of what you did and he praised you for it?
Oh, absolutely. He praised, yes. Okay.
Now, are you hearing those voices at all now?
Out there communicating with my father?
Yes, sir.
Wes, absolutely. Yeah, not hearing.
You're not hearing it now?
You're hearing.
I'm hearing it.
Warning, this is a very disturbing story about Manuel Vela. It's not for the lighthearted, and viewer discretion is advised. Bakersfield, California, December 10th, 2016. Quote, "Whose brain are you? Do you like my flesh?" End quote. He said he had been hearing voices since he was 7 years old. Those closest to him said he dabbled in street drugs. I'm guessing he used them, not just recreational, but to help cope with the voices that were going on in his head. 28-year-old Manuel Vela had a relationship with 30-year-old fiancée Katrina Rivera. They share 2 young daughters together, but Manuel and Katrina had a tumultuous relationship. On 3 different occasions, 2009, 2011, and earlier in 2016, Manuel had been picked up for domestic violence against Katrina. She had filed several restraining orders on him. The last one expired August 2015. Aside from the domestics, Manuel had been arrested 7 other times. Anything from stealing vehicles to public intoxication. He was sentenced to 2 years and 8 months for taking a vehicle without the owner's consent in 2014. But he did 1 year, also spending time at Peyton State Hospital, a mental hospital. Manuel and Katrina had an off-again, on-again relationship. It was more on than off. She was now carrying his son. The couple was happy to be having a baby boy. A name was already picked, Josiah. Despite what Manuel would say in his later interviews, Katrina was excited about the birth of Josiah. Katrina knew that her soon-to-be husband was struggling with mental issues, but she stayed. He's the father of her children, and I'm guessing she loved him. I know she loved him. She may have been scared of him at the same time. But things were going to get better. Manuel had signed up and been accepted to receive psychiatric help. On December 6, 2016, Katrina had gone missing. It was crucial she'd be found. She was 9 months pregnant and due at any minute. Manuel Vela was missing too. Missing posters was placed throughout Bakersfield. Friends and family prayed the missing woman and Manuel would be returned. Police had one suspect, Manuel Vela. It wasn't because Katrina and him had a violent past. Manuel's oldest child had told police the last time she seen her mother, she was getting in the car with her father, Manuel. Police would put a BOLO, be on the lookout for a 2000 red Hyundai Elantra. On December 10th, 2016, around 11:25 a.m., the car was spotted. A car chase with Manuel and the police would take place. Manuel was reckless. He tried to hit several officers with the vehicle as he crashed into several moving vehicles. Police could see Manuel dangling a baby outside the car's window. He had driven into East Bakersfield by the highway. He tried to flee from the police. At one point, it looked like he was about to slow down and surrender, but instead, he tossed the baby into a gutter and kept fleeing. Now it was a foot chase. Several officers would stay with the abandoned car and went to rescue the newborn baby. The baby was rushed to Kearns Medical Treatment Center. Meanwhile, other police would open up the trunk of the car. The missing woman, Katrina Rivera, was inside, her mutilated body in the trunk, with Josiah taken from her room. At Kearns Medical, Josiah didn't make it. He was pronounced dead on arrival. Autopsy reports would read that Josiah had been deceased for quite some time. Manuel was now arrested. He had put up a fight with the officers while taken to the ground. With his slurred speech, he was incoherent. He was drunk. He was on drugs. However, the toxicology test would show negative. He was clean. No drugs at all. He was sober. One of the several people that interviewed Manuel after the death of his fiancée and his newborn son at Kearns County Jail, he explained what took place at 2213 Fairfax.
If you don't want to answer any of the questions, you don't have to.
Oh, that's fine. I understand. You can proceed.
So what happened yesterday? How did this all start?
What this is? 12/8. That's when this all started. About how this person ended up dead, Katrina Rivera, with the baby cut out. And
Did you cut the baby out of her?
yes, I did.
Why?
Prove a point to religion.
Isn't it your baby?
It's not a baby. Yes.
So what point were you proving?
First and foremost, to defy every religion-based political, to defy every law of any God creation of a book. You understand? Yeah.
So did you think what you were doing was the right thing, or did you realize it was going to kill her?
Well, we quite, as a team, you know, from extraterrestrial to religion to science, understand the voyage of telepathy and somewhat of higher power vested in us as a team, me and Katrina Rivera. So I understood, yes, that I was gonna kill her. She understood that she had to die.
So naturally, people had said he was bluffing, playing crazy to get out of the death of Katrina and Josiah.
From there on, she said, "It's your Sunday. Let's get it." So I had to go and put it in effect that night as the highest of authority.
So
and
what
made it a
happened
process. It made it a process of just following through on whatever, and however they proceeded as one to actually have her dead on the floor. Put her in the trunk. Put her in the back seat of the car. Drive, have some alone time, talk to the father, and then go on and proceed. And I was do as I chose as a human, because I'm still as human as a man. That's me, along with everything else any of a nation, of any other belief of a God actually here.
So what was her thoughts when you were cutting? Was she alive when you cut
No,
the
she
baby
was
out?
dead.
And how did you do that?
She was dead about from 9 to 7, I think. I think I put her open at 7:11.
How did you kill her?
I socked her and I choked her.
And then the baby. Once you cut the baby out, how did you kill the baby?
I killed her, Katrina Rivera, right there.
How?
I strangled her.
At the house?
Yes.
And then hours later you went to Edison and then cut the baby up?
Yes.
How do you feel? With all of this, you've completed your instructions and you are the Antichrist. How do you feel about this that you've done now?
Said remorse, that's it.
Why the remorse?
I said only takes a word that to describe it.
I bet that's tough.
Yes.
He also says he is the Antichrist. Quote, mental illness rules, rock on, end quote. He double talks. Under his breath, it is very uneasy. It's hard to watch. The interviewer will ask him, is the voices telling him what to do during the interview? His answer is not clear. Nothing he says is clear. He speaks about extraterrestrials. The interviewer asks Manuel, did he feel bad for killing his girlfriend? He said he went easy on her, so he didn't feel bad. He was asked what instructions did he get to kill. He was told to shut up or he would be killed. Quote, do what you do and do it the right way as if you were alone in a garden, end quote. He said he was given a razor blade to perform the C-section by God. He says he acted like a savage or beast. He also spoke about how he was able to spend time with the baby while the woman was in the back. He said the baby looks just like him. He does this with a cradling motion as if he's cradling Josiah. He said he petted the baby. He still had to play along about his mental illness. This was said by Manuel. The interviews are so strange, scary, and sad.
No, not at all.
Was this something that you had planned for a long time to do?
Well, it wasn't really something we planned on to do since Jesus' return, back when he was hanging on those crosses, 3 crosses, right here in back of the Canyon Hills, what you represented. Hello. As they did back in 2000, you know, before Christ and after Christ, whatever, after death, whatever they want to mix it up right now a little bit with you. To say the least, I was capable of a lot better. I could have went with this other option, but I just respected the plan, authority of the Father. So the Holy Spirit within said,
What was the other option?
Leaving and going the path of defying the Father.
Manuel said he was the Antichrist, and voices guided him to do it. He had to eradicate the bloodline that seemed to follow him. He said Katrina had known about this, and she agreed to her death. She had prepared to die by the hands of her children's father. This was planned for 1,000 years. The only reason why he was with her, the only reasons why he said he stayed with her, was to do these acts by his father. Her autopsy would show that she had died of strangulations, compressions to her neck. Manuel said, quote, "I socked her and I choked her," end quote. Manuel said he had to remove the baby after the death. He did this nearby a homeless shelter. Nobody had seen him. Nobody knew what he was doing. He said he had to record it so that basically they would know that the task was done. When Manuel went to court, as soon as he spoke about God and why he was in court, the judge spoke over him and postponed the competency hearing until another day. In the court documents, they listed that there had been sexual assault, but it was too graphic to mention. On January 20th, 2017, Manuel, still incarcerated, had to appear in court for a competency hearing. Guards would find him in the cell unresponsive and try to give life-saving measures, but Manuel was pronounced dead. He died by suicide. Some felt that this was justice for what he had done to this woman who was so kind and loving and who would go out of her way to make people happy and laugh. And what he did to his very own son, Josiah. The one thing Manuel said, his death would be a fair punishment.
I would imagine to tell you, nothing will ever be the